Hey, Curtis.
Hey, Oz.
What movie are you bringing to the table to wrap up Wives' Choice Month?
To wrap up Wives' Choice Part Duh,
Duh.
we have Tenacious D meets Full Metal Jacket, plus The Nun, and the 8th inning of a Boston Red Sox game. This week we're watching Saving Silverman.
Fair enough. The Nun.
The Nun.
Not Sister Act 2, but
Not
The
Sister
Nun.
Act 2. No, The Nun.
Oh, welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, that kooky podcast you listen to where we talk about movies that satisfy a theme that we made up.
That's
I'm
how
one
it
of your
works.
hosts, Oz. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I'm the other host, Curtis.
And before we get going into Saving Silverman, which, in no surprise, happens to be episode 69.
That's
like
quite,
I was looking at it, I'm
quite
like,
fitting.
very fitting for
Yes.
this film. We do want to give a shout out to Patreon subscribers Don S, Melissa L, Aaron A, and Mandy K. Thank you, one and all, for your repeated monthly patronage. Don S jumped up to tier 2
Wow.
this last week.
Throwing down
Yeah.
the coin, Don S.
That's right. So now we have 3 tier 2 bonus episode subscribers. And then Aaron A.
We'll get her there, Oz. We will.
So, but no, thank you again for your monthly patronage. We really do enjoy saying your name. It's very rhythmic. So, with your Don S, Melissa L, Aaron A, and Mandy K. So, but I'll figure out a new tune if we can roll in more patrons. So, but yeah, so Saving Silverman is your wife's choice for this.
It is.
Which is funny because Patreon subscriber Melissa L commented in last week's
Yes, she did. I saw that.
YouTube comments. She says 2 comments actually. Comment 1 was, "I want a T-shirt." Because we'd mentioned swag.
Yes,
so
yeah,
she
we
wants a
talked about
t-shirt.
swag, and we're leaning towards tote bags, but we could probably be convinced to do T-shirts.
Right. And then she also said, "I thought February was romance movies," to which I reminded her that that game night does feature a romance and they meet and fall in love and get married and talk about babies. And I reminded her that her 2 choices from last month were vampires and spanking. So
there's romance in that too, my friend.
Yeah, there is. There is. But it's like I thought it was
spanking.
I thought it was romance, and I'm like, well, there's romance there. There's just as much romance in game night as there is in Saving Silverman. Let's put it that way.
I have a feeling Melissa L will disagree with you, but that is your feeling.
Oh, I know she will. That's fine. That's fair enough. So, all right. Well, it is your wife's choice this month, so
Correct.
I have the cast, and it is a cast.
It is quite literally a cast.
There is a cast. We have our main character, Jason Biggs, playing Darren Silverman, Jonathan
what
and
a
Sarah's
Hollywood
younger brother.
What a Hollywood leading man, Jason Biggs.
Yeah, Jason Biggs. To be fair though, he is riding pretty high off of American Pie. Still,
he was.
So.
This was just a couple years in the wake of American Pie.
And so he's playing Darren Silverman, the titular man needing saving.
Yes.
And who's going to save him? His 2 best friends, Wayne Lefissiere, maybe?
Sure.
Played by Steve Zahn, and Jack Black playing J.D. McNugent. These 2 are the highlight of the show for me.
Yeah.
They are fun together. I've said multiple times in the past, like, a little bit of Jack Black goes a long way.
Sure.
But in a playground like this, you got to let Jack Black off the leash and just do his thing. We have the dual objects of affection of Mr. Darren Silverman.
Mm-hmm.
Judith Fessbegler, played by Amanda Peet, and Sandy... Exactly. And Sandy Perkis, played by Amanda Detmer. And then we got two fringe people that definitely need mentioning. We got R. Lee Ermey himself playing their high school football coach / murderer,
Yep.
Coach Norton. And really the glue, the rug that ties the room together, Neil Diamond playing Neil Diamond.
Because when I think of a early 2000s sex romp comedy, I think R. Lee Ermey and Neil Diamond.
Yeah. And when I think relationship based movies, I think R. Lee Ermey and Jack Black. So.
Yes, that old romantic R. Lee Ermey.
Yeah. And then we do get a Kyle Gass cameo, just to tie into your Tenacious D, as the bar magician.
Yeah,
that is also trying to pick up a Miss Judith Fessbegler.
Judith,
who's just a terrible person.
Yes, she is. Yeah, doesn't do a whole lot for the mental health industry as well.
No, especially as she is like a psychologist. And uses all of her schooling to play her Venus flytrap games.
Yeah, for her own means.
Oh, yeah, totally. All right, so that is your cast of characters. We've got other random nuns and football players and whatever, but the rest is you, my friend.
All right, well, that's the cast. Let's get to the plot, the layered onion peel plot of Saving Silverman.
The inception of the comedy world.
Yes, yeah, the Bloomin' Onion. That was actually the name of this movie in Australia. Was Bloomin' Onion. Bloomin' Onion.
That makes sense.
So we open on Wayne talking to the camera about being at a Neil Diamond concert in 1972, and he was there in attendance in the womb.
Yep.
He intros his friends. We have dumb JD and we have romantic Darren. We see young Wayne getting beaten up by a girl. We get a little bit of their history together. In high school, Wayne was the third string quarterback. JD was the mascot, and Darren was the cheerleader. Which I do think kind of captures their characters in a pretty good way.
Which is funny because it's like that means Uncle Rico was higher on the depth chart than Wayne was.
Only would have put Wayne in, would have gone to state.
That's true. with his full high school mustache. Which,
exactly.
I mean, there are students that have full mustache, but this is like a full man. This is the full manly mustache.
Yes, it's almost like he was in his early 30s when they shot.
Possibly, I don't think they used CGI in 1999 to go back and change it, or 2001, I should say. Sorry, this is a comedy of the aughts.
Let's see. We get a little bit about Sandy, Darren's first love and first crush in the movie. We get some words of wisdom from Coach Norton early in the movie as well. Right. These are words that I tell myself every day. Stay away from women. All they want from you is, I don't know if I should finish that line or not, but is your man.
Yeah.
Is your manliness.
Yes.
So his two pieces of advice are stay away from women and sportsmanship.
Yeah. Which honestly reminds me of a lot of the basketball coach in Teen Wolf. Like he's got kind of that same like laissez-faire philosophy on life.
Yeah. And then we cut to them grown up. Oz. The three of them are all. Was it JD and Wayne live together? And Jason Biggs is there all the time, anyways. Darren.
Right,
they're powdered
which is
beards.
great because they haven't aged today since high school.
Yeah, exactly.
These three.
It's like the film didn't even bother to make them.
Which is part of the comedy. It's like they took the effort to film these quote unquote flashbacks, but yet nobody no one changes.
No,
we saw Ione Sky's dad harden in a week, and R. Lee Ermey didn't get a single wrinkle in prison.
Nope.
Jumping ahead a little, but anyway.
So JD's working his way up the ladder at Subway. Darren works at a nursing home doing activities with the elderly residents. And Wayne, he's the entrepreneur of the group. He started his own pest rodent control company. Then we get Kind of a scene that I think kind of summarizes this entire movie of him trying to coax a raccoon out, and then he's attacked. And basically, it's just 60 seconds of him running around in a backyard while like pop punk plays with a raccoon stuck to his head. So,
which is odd. Which it just shows how movie snobbish we can be. Because when Bruce Campbell did it in Evil Dead 2, we loved it.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Right, but then Steve Zahn does it. We're like, okay, let's go wrap it up.
He's got a raccoon on his head.
He's just doing it. He's just doing an Ash Williams.
Oh,
that's all.
It's the old raccoon on the head bit.
Right, I've seen this. Which we should probably mention that Dennis Dugan directed this movie, or Dennis Duggan, Hacksaw's much older brother.
Dennis. It's Dennis and Jim. They were brothers back.
Jim and Dennis Duggan.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dennis Duggan, to be fair, just to paint a picture for any of you who have not seen Saving Silverman, if you have seen Adam Sandler movies such as Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, or movies like The Benchwarmers, I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, You Don't Mess with the Zohan, Grown Ups, Just Go With It, Jack and Jill, and Grown Ups 2, you know who Dennis Dugan is. He's a 4-time Golden Raspberry Award winner.
The omnipresent
nominee.
Dennis Dugan.
Yeah. So that's probably about the apex of his comedy directing. Is let's let Steve hold a raccoon and wrestle.
Wouldn't that be funny, guys?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get a Subway sandwich.
Right.
Product placement. Although now that I think about it,
go for it. Yeah.
It's now that we say that out loud, it's he must have some kind of like backdoor deal with Subway because of the whole Happy Gilmore thing. Yeah.
Well, that's probably what Jim did after he retired from professional wrestling. Opened up a chain of Subway stores.
Local franchisee of Subways.
Probably just one Subway.
A Subway.
Yeah.
He took all those 2x4s, and that's what he made the counter out of.
Right. That's what they serve it on, is 2x4 trays.
Every time somebody orders a 12-inch meatball, you get a, oh!
That's what they give back to him if their sandwich tastes good. As they stick their tongue out to the side. I always liked Hacksaw.
He was fun. He was a terrible wrestler, but he had a fun bit.
Oh, yeah. His which really was no more than just yelling.
Yeah. Wasn't his finishing move like a clothesline out of a 3-point stance or something like that?
That's all it was. Yes, and it was not even like it wasn't even like a lariat clothesline. It was just, I'm going to run this into your middle chest.
Yeah.
And knock you over, and then oh.
Yep. And then the USA chant, because when I think of 2x4s, I think of USA.
Right. Home Depot.
Yep. Back to Saving Silverman. So all of our characters, Wayne, JD, and Darren, they're all huge Neil Diamond fans, and they play in a tribute, not a cover, a tribute band, because they're all dressed as the character, called Diamonds in the Rough, which I think is a clever name for a Neil Diamond.
That is a clever name. Yes.
Yeah. Darren is afraid he'll never find a woman. He never asked Sandy out before her family joined the circus.
Yeah, they were the Piccolo-Poopolas.
Oh, it's always a great episode when we get a Piccolo-Poopola reference. When we get a reference from the lesser of the Pee-wee movies.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Yeah,
I do. I like the movie. What other Pee-wee? This movie couldn't get Benicio del Toro in it.
That's true.
Big Top Pee-wee did.
They did. They got Oscar winner Benicio del Toro.
And the girl from Rain Man.
Yes, yeah, Valerie Gogliano, something like that.
I guess she was also from Hot Shots.
Hot Shots, yes.
Whatever.
Hot Shots. So our three leads, they're all kind of drinking their sorrows away at a bar. And Darren's like, I'm never going to find a woman. And he looks over and he sees Judith.
Yeah.
Sitting
who walks into to Crazy Town's Come Lady.
Yes, thank you. I was
butterfly.
Yeah, butterfly. Human butterfly, sugar, baby.
Which, oh my God. Like, Music was terrible.
It was. Oh yeah, that was not. Yeah, the late like 99 to 01 was like the dark ages of music. Like it was. You had your like frat boy alternative rock, like Limp Bizkit, the Limp Bizkits of the world, and Stained, and these like dark gloomy alt metal bands. Yeah, and it was a couple years later is when like White Stripes really kind of broke through, and the Strokes, and
where they got tired of when they got tired of that being popular music.
Yeah, everybody had a backwards red fitted cap.
Oh man.
That was the dark ages of music.
That was awful.
Yeah.
And it's like it was either that or one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
Of your Crazy Town, your OMC, How Bizarre. And it's like, it's just terrible music. Terrible. But it's like sometimes with like teen girl fashions where you look at it, you're like, who? But it's like if that's the only thing on the rack, if that's the only thing on the station, then you don't know what's good. Like,
true.
You did. You were kind of that deep diver into music, but unfortunately, in mid-state Illinois, where there was three working top 40 channels, that's all we had.
You got a lot of Crazy Town.
Oh, it was awful. I do have it on my Apple.
Come, my baby.
Yeah, I do have it in my Apple Music library though. So whatever.
So Darren goes over to hit on Judith, and she's just completely just dismisses him, like just
right.
go away.
Well, because at first Wayne goes over.
That's right. Wayne goes over to hit on
talk him
for
up. Yeah.
Darren. Yes, that's right. Yeah,
and she's just like, no, go.
Like she never breaks. Like she's reading a book in the middle of this bar. Like she never makes eye contact. Her eyes never leave the pages of the book.
Right. And then Wayne goes and lies to Darren about it. It's, she can't wait to meet you. So he goes down all hopeful.
Yeah. So he goes over, and while he's there, Kyle Gass, the bar magician.
Because he left his beer and walked away, and that's when Kyle Gass showed up with his separating ring trick.
And to basically run off Kyle Gass, she grabs, I guess, what is like the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, exactly.
And grabs Darren and like, this is my boyfriend, leave.
Right.
And true love emerges from that scene.
Go away, Kyle Gass. I prefer to be with Jason Biggs.
He then orders a beer, and she makes him get a gin and tonic.
Right. Yeah, and that right there is the start of
a very healthy relationship.
Yeah.
6 weeks later, they're celebrating their anniversary. He asks if they could become more physically intimate.
Well, to be fair, 6 weeks later, he's celebrating their anniversary.
Yeah, that's true.
She has no idea it's even happened.
He's hoping that their relationship can become more intimate, and it sort of does.
Yeah, for her.
Yeah, for her, and not for him. There's no reciprocation, but
she does hand him lotion and Kleenex, though. So
yeah. So,
because she doesn't want to be rude.
Yeah, it would be because that's what a healthy relationship looks like.
Right. Yeah. One-way streets.
So Darren brings Judith to Wayne and JD's. Hey, you got to meet my friends. It's been 6 weeks. And speaking of terrible music from around that era, that I See You Baby, Shaking That Thing is playing as they pull up.
I believe I also have that on my Apple Music playlist.
Although I will say I will listen to that song any day of the week over Butterfly by Crazy Town.
Yeah. It's Groove Armada is the name of. It's catchy. That fell into that subgenre of like, hey, let's all try and sound like Fatboy Slim. Let's do that.
Yeah. That's sort of the late 90s.
Yeah.
Like electronic pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fatboy Slim.
I have a lot of Fatboy Slim on my Apple Music playlist as well. Fully admitting that's not as terrible as the rest of it, but
Fatboy Slim's not bad.
I drew the line with Moby. I do like Moby, but he's a little too pretentious for what I'm wanting to listen to on the way to school with the kids.
If an electronic artist could become overexposed, he managed it.
Moby. Oh
Yeah.
He worked really hard to become overexposed.
Yes, he did. So as Judith and Darren are walking in, I think was it JD is telling Wayne, hey, if the nachos get stuck together, that's one nacho.
Right, they're one nacho. I was like being condescending about nacho and cheese,
which really,
hey,
which I think really defines JD.
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
it's like, hey, idiot.
Yeah.
Like, if they're stuck together, it's one nacho.
Yeah. We find out Judith is a psychologist because, of course, and Wayne says he's in a related field. Rodent pest control. They're both helping people. That's how
we help people.
We see early on Wayne very subtly trying to connect with Judith here. Judith makes Darren leave because was it like they spilled? He like JD was offering up his recliner chair. That's right.
And it did the old Sweet Home Alabama like broken spring throw you out of the chair backwards trick, but then spilled looked like marinara sauce all over, because they're eating nachos.
Yeah,
it was probably salsa, but still.
I think it probably, if it was JD, it probably was marinara because that would have been it was in the front of the shelf. Why put forth the effort to reach to the back to get the salsa when the marinara?
We're just having Italian nachos. For
there
lunch.
you go. It's like your Tostito scoops and Prego.
Exactly. It's interracial nachos.
There you go.
But yeah, so she's like, we're leaving because she's got food all over.
And she demands that they leave. She demands that. Go ahead.
I just love it because after she gets up and she's like covered in food and her hair's a mess or whatever, and JD's like, oh, I got it. It was the lug nut. He could care less about what happened to her. He's just wanting to make sure he could fix the chair so that she could try again.
Yeah,
he's in
his own JD way. He's trying to accommodate her.
Right. I found it. It was the lug nut.
It was the lug nut. So Judith tells Darren, you can never see them again, and you're quitting the band.
Yeah. And of course he's like, okay, because, he tries to fight back at first.
Yeah.
He's just like, those are my friends. And she's like, do you want me to take away the only relationship piece that we have and your lotion and Kleenex privileges? And he's, oh, no, I guess not.
Yeah. Oh, what a putz.
Yeah.
So JD and Wayne, they go to confront Judith because they recognize what's happening to Darren and that he's just in this incredibly toxic relationship. And so they go to her office. They tell Judith that we're gonna take him away from you, and she says, I own him. I'm in complete control. He's my puppet. Judith then beats Wayne in an arm wrestling contest. Because
it's a Dennis Dugan movie.
Yeah, and that's how we solve problems and come to consensus with an arm wrestling contest. Although,
just to prove that she's manlier than you are, Wayne.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't. Did you watch the director's or unrated cut?
It was the R-rated cut. Yeah, because I noticed Plex had it as a PG-13 rating.
Okay.
but I don't think they knew I was watching the R or unrated. Okay. Cut. I was like, oh no, this is not a PG-13.
Yeah, because then there's the little scene where they try to trick Judith into thinking that Darren's been out hanging around with prostitutes.
Right. Yeah, that was the real tipping point for me where I'm like, this is not a PG-13 film.
No.
I think they've dropped one F-bomb by this point, but of course you're allotted to in a PG-13.
Yeah, you get rid of one, as long as it's not used as a verb.
Right. But no, this scene here, there was no hiding it.
No, well, yeah, there was a couple of things out on display there.
Yeah. And not the only Perkins in the movie.
There you go. While playing ping pong too, which again,
those poor actresses.
Dennis Dugan movie.
All right. That's probably Jim's idea.
Darren tells Wayne and JD that Judith proposed to him, but he's taking her last name. Which, again, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
however,
not. But
in this context, she clearly it told him this is what you're doing, and his tail went between his legs, and okay.
Yeah.
So JD and Wayne show up at the engagement party. They pick a fight with Darren's new friends.
Right. See you later, replacement friends.
Yeah. And so they decide we have no choice. We have to kidnap Judith and then set Darren up with Sandy, who recently came back to town.
Yeah, because they gone to see Coach Norton in prison. Is that yet? Did he give him the idea?
I'm looking at my notes.
I don't remember. I mean, at some point, I don't remember if they. No, they kidnapped her first, because then they went to him and asked, "What do we do with her?" And he's like, "You kill her."
Yeah, you kill her. Yeah, that's right. And I don't feel bad about telling this movie out of order, because it really doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. And so they break into Judith's house. She like kicks Wayne as he's trying to shoot her with a tranquilizer dart, and he shoots himself. She gives JD a swirly.
Yeah,
it's pretty dumb, but essentially they kidnap Judith. They chain her up in the garage.
Yeah, like chain her to like an engine block.
Yeah. Wayne meets up with Sandy. She says she's going to become a nun. There's a little
in like a few days.
Yeah, because that's how that works.
Yeah, there's no pause button on that. Like,
nope. You're gonna become a nun. There's a little sequence. She's had some tragedy in her life. Sandy. She dropped her lover in the circus. They were doing some crazy trapeze act, and he filled his doom.
Yeah, he was too greased up on his hair gel on his hands.
And so Darren is processing with JD, like, because she's been gone for a while, and like she left no word to Darren. But Darren says, as long as I think she's alive, I'm never going to give up. So to JD, that means they need to fake her death. So they dig up a dead woman, put her in Judith's car, and push shit off a cliff.
And that was the majority of the budget right there.
Right there, yes.
Do you think when they do that in movies, because they do that a lot, you know,
when the car goes off the cliff?
Yeah. Do they don't leave the car there, do they? I mean, somebody has to go clean up the wreckage.
I think that it's all the same pit. Like, we're shooting a movie. We got a car going off a cliff. Just go to the old car cliff.
It's like, you think about it, like, Lloyd Kaufman was more responsible with just reusing the same car crash, clip in all of his movies. He was far more responsible because he only then did the damage to one vehicle, as opposed to the multi vehicles that Hollywood is taking care of.
Well, eventually,
Go ahead.
So eventually, Hollywood's they're not going to be able to do the car off the cliff anymore, because once those cars stack up to meet the cliff face, then
it's like
there goes that.
It's like behind the TT and From Dusk Till Dawn, like all those semi trucks.
Exactly. We only got one cliff, folks. Once it's full, it's full. You're gonna have to start writing something else there.
It's up on the Hollywood Hills.
Yep.
I like to think that they don't clean up the wreckage. That they just leave all those wrecked cars laying at the bottom.
Well, I'm sure they drained all the fluids from it as well. So
it's probably how all the forest fires start in California each year. Is some production throws a flaming car off a cliff and just lets it go.
There it goes.
That's a wrap.
Smokey the Bear says, "Don't leave your burning car at the bottom of a pit."
Yeah, that's. I think we figured it out. Hollywood, put your cars out and then clean up the wreckage. It'll save the forest industry in California.
The more you know. Do.
Exactly.
So Judith figures out it's JD and Wayne, and then they go. Okay, I got in the notes here. Then they go visit Coach Norton in prison. There is the little scene. The reason why he's in prison, Oz. He got mad during a football game he was coaching. Took the down marker, which of course must have had a spear tip end to it.
Oh, they do. They did back in the early aughts.
Mm-hmm. and chucked it into the ref. So
Yeah. The ref who was played by Dennis Duggan.
there you go. We've come full circle.
Yeah. So even he didn't enjoy. He even wanted to die on the set of this movie.
So he immediately suggests, well, you just got to kill her.
Just kill, like, just so nonchalant. Well, you got to kill her.
We get another little music sequence here where Darren is lighting candles to a shrine made to Judith while "Show me the meaning of being lonely."
Which boy band was that? Was that Backstreet?
I think that was Backstreet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Backstreet. The superior of the late '90s boy bands, in my opinion. I'll take Backstreet Boys over NSYNC.
My sister was a huge NSYNC fan. Like, she was a big New Kids fan as a child, and then evolved into an NSYNC fan. So I had a one-sided presentation to the music. So, but yeah, I do enjoy the Backstreet's Back music video better than any of the others, though. Where they go to the castle and they're all in their Halloween costumes. That was a pretty sweet video.
Yep. Nothing beats late 90s boy band videos.
God, it was terrible. I'm starting to understand why people just tuned in to WHEN radio to listen to us.
I know, because they
on the slideshow of the news, because it's better than a music video.
Yeah, it's Lip Biscuit and NSYNC or Oz and Curtis.
At least we can listen to Hulk Hogan and Joey Lawrence.
Yeah. Hit like and subscribe if you get the references we're making right now.
Yeah, or if you ever want a 12-inch burrito,
yes,
from us, the old football shaped burrito.
Football burrito. So Wayne convinces Darren to go on a date with Sandy. She shows up to the date in her full nun habit.
Right.
Because that's what one does.
Well, you're about to be a nun. It's like dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
You didn't want to give mixed messages that you might be up for more.
She consoles Darren, though, by singing Neil Diamond. Just further giving the impression that these two are really meant to be together.
Yeah, because they like the same music. Like, that should be the basis for any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite band? Neil? Mine too. Let's get married.
Korn.
We'll work out the rest. Korn. Creed.
Another late 90s, early aughts. Yeah.
Could you just wear an A-frame shirt for me, please?
1999 to 2001 just needs to just go away. Just
right.
Disappear from the record books.
We were required. You and I were required to play a full hour of top 40 hits, to where songs like "Do You Believe in Love" by Cher was constantly being played on our radio show.
And it was hated it. And during that block, it's like, oh, thank goodness we get to play "Miami" by Will Smith next to break up the monotony of awful songs.
I know.
Woo, Miami will break that bad rhythm right there.
Well, and it's like, in hindsight, I don't recall there ever being a certain number of top 40 songs we had to play in that hour. Mm-hmm. I just remember it was your first hour had to be top 40.
Had to be top 40.
I don't know why we didn't just play a song and then talk through the rest of the hour. We really could have been ahead of this podcast thing.
Yeah, there you go. The first live podcast.
Yeah.
on dorm room radio at Western Illinois University.
with the the micro CD. What did you have that
mini discs?
That's mini disc. The Sony player full of sound effects that we would play.
Yep.
In between when I was when I was scratching Disco Duck on the turntable.
On the turntable we had there, Disco Duck. Yeah.
We had listeners.
We did. We had a cult following.
We arguably had more listeners on that isolated Channel 3 show than we have now.
Well, it shows our waning popularity, Oz.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We will. So back in JD and Wayne's garage at Saving Silverman, Judith now, because she's a psychologist, Oz, she's gotten inside JD's feeble mind, and she basically,
which is, to be fair, there's a lot of room up there.
Yeah.
So she didn't have to wedge her way in like a birthday party in an elevator.
In between the nachos stuck together that make one nacho.
And the lug nuts.
Yeah.
Right.
And essentially,
basic recliner repair.
So Judith convinces JD that he's either convinces him or helps him realize, depending on perspective, that he's gay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I have a problem with this or not. Because
it depends on whether she convinced him or allowed him to open up.
Yes. Like, on one hand, I'm happy that he's realized who he is, and he's now able to lead a happier, more fulfilled life. However, it's also played for a punchline.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah. Because in 2001, it wasn't acceptable.
Yeah.
Like, on one hand, I mean, I guess they are, I won't say bringing it to the forefront, because it's not like this movie, was a tentpole film or anything.
Yeah.
But, they have an openly gay character whose friends are fine with it. Like, they don't care. Like, so, like, that's still a positive message to send.
Well, and
but
they don't react negatively to it. In fact, I think Wayne even says, like, you want to be gay, fine.
Yeah, right. He doesn't care. But with everything that they've shown us about Judith up to this point, just how monstrous she is, like, it really does play it off that she probably did more to convince him that's what it is, which means to a person like her that it's a negative.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's bad.
She tries to escape. She knocks out JD with a lamp, but Wayne gets the drop on her and tranks her in front of a police station.
That's right. Chasing her through town.
Meanwhile, Sandy is lifting weights with the nuns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what the nuns do, is they lift free weights.
Yeah. Yep.
And basically, she admits she's having thoughts about sex, and the lead nun is like, go to him.
Yeah.
Wayne chains up Judith, and they're just screaming at each other. I'm looking at some of my notes, and I think I'm going to skip a couple other scenes that happen here. Darren goes on another date with Sandy, and he keeps mentioning Judith, so Wayne puts electrodes on him.
Yeah.
Eventually, it starts sparking, and it sets a fire to the bar that they're in, which is, I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever.
It just is. Darren then runs 30 miles to catch up with Sandy. He says he loves her, and they kiss, so they're together. Yay, cool.
Yeah.
Back at Wayne and JD's, he got Judith Arby's.
He did. It looked good. That's probably the best Arby's he's ever looked.
Another product placement. So and then Wayne and Judith start talking, like, why Darren? Like, she says that, like, like you should be with an assertive guy. And she says, no more assertive guys. My last love died in an underground kickboxing tournament in Thailand.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that little dumb scene.
And then we get the cut to of her lover dying in an underground kickboxing tournament in Thailand.
Which is 2 weeks in a row where we've uncovered an underground fight club in a film.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe that should have been the theme of the month.
Yeah. We could have thrown the jerk in there, too, with their cat juggling, underground cat juggling.
That's right. So Judith, and I guess this explains her character's motivations. So she's like, I've decided that, I'm not going to follow my heart. Love is meant to be cold and rational. She then begins seducing Wayne as Arby sauce drips on her chest.
Right. It's
really gross. Yeah. They start making out and more, and then the doorbell rings, breaking them up. He's already partially unlocked her, and she lifted the keys. So,
because she needed one hand.
Yeah,
that's all she needed.
We'll just leave it at that. So it's Coach. He's there now. Hey, I got a retrial. I need a place to crash.
Right.
He then goes and poops in the lawn.
Yeah, because
that's what they do now.
Yeah. Well, that's what they did then. I don't think they do it now.
So they tell Coach that they ate Judith, but he sees that she's.
What'd you ever do about that girl? We ate her.
We ate her. But he sees that she's alive, and then we get a fight scene between Judith and Coach Norton.
Yeah.
She escapes. She ends up back at Darren's while Darren and a bra-clad Sandy are making out. Judith exaggerates what JD and Wayne did to her, and she convinces him that, like, you pledged your love to me, and Sandy leaves.
Yeah. Like, Sandy was really on the fence about being a nun.
Yeah.
Like, she went from, I'm going to plead chastity for the remainder of my days to, oh, you like me? Well, I'm going to take my shirt off now.
Yeah.
All in the span of like 48 hours.
Yep. So,
I don't think she's real convinced.
No, I would say not. Although, you do have those free weights, so I mean that's a
well, that's true. I mean, free gym membership. So,
so they end up in jail. Wayne and JD are in jail. Coach breaks them out by backing the pest control truck through the jail wall.
Luckily, he knew which cell they were in.
Yes.
That's always a plus in movies like this.
Yeah. I just pick a wall and just back through it. Oh, there they are.
Whew, that was close.
JD and Wayne go
to be fair, we assume that it was the first wall he bust through.
I guess, yeah, it could have happened to him. he just kept busting through until he got to the right one.
Right. He just did it quickly before they stopped him.
So JD and Wayne go to the convent. They convince Sandy to not become a nun. Okay.
Again.
Yep. And then, Oz, they kidnap someone else. They kidnap the one and only Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond.
Uh-huh. He says that he recognized JD as the guy who sent in naked pictures as well.
Yeah, with the restraining order.
Yeah. Were you about to say something else? Yeah.
I was just saying, to be fair, like, good for Neil, because clearly, I won't go as far to say he's a punchline in this joke, but he's in this movie, but like, it's that obscureness of the humor of like, hey, they're Neil Diamond fans, isn't that funny? And then to actually get Neil Diamond to be on board with it, I think it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So good for Neil to be in on the joke enough to be like, whatever.
So
honestly, this movie probably exposed more people to Neil than just
I would say it helped his career.
You kind of have the same effect as like what happened, like Wayne Newton in Vegas Vacation. Like if you were gonna know who Wayne Newton was, you probably already knew. So same here. If you already knew who Neil Diamond was, you weren't watching this movie anyway.
So they quickly convince Neil Diamond to help them, which he does, despite the fact that they just kidnapped him.
Because he believes in true love.
We then cut to, for my money, the best scene in this whole movie. So it's the wedding scene. Judith and Darren are about to get married, and it's at some big like country club resort or something like that.
Right. They threw this together in a hurry.
Yeah, they did. And Neil's there. He starts singing. And he objects to the wedding. Sandy runs up, starts singing along with Neil.
She's dressed in the prostitute clothes from earlier.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because that was the only clothes they had to give her. So she's dressed as a prostitute.
Which means, did those prostitutes go home naked then? Like they showed up in clothes, and then they no longer have their clothes. So after the ping pong game,
they had the ping pong paddles, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Although it'd be hard to hold three.
PG podcast. Judith tells Darren to say I do, and he says no. Sandy is his someone, his one and only. And then he runs to her, and then Judith, what about me? Who's my someone? And then Wayne shows up in the same place that Sandy was, starts singing along to the Neil Diamond song.
This was a fun little scene.
Yeah, this was by far the funniest point in the whole movie.
Well, it's about the only time in the movie where really everybody's been in a scene together.
That's true. Yeah.
And so they bring all of this like A-level comedy talent all into one showcase
the
here.
Dennis
to wrap it all up.
A-level comedy talent.
The Amanda Peet. The Amanda Peet hierarchy of comedy.
And so she runs to Wayne down the aisle, or up the aisle, I should say, and you think that they're going to embrace, and on her way, she grabs an empty folding chair and just breaks it over his back.
Right. Knocks a tooth out.
Yeah. She just spits it out, and
Yeah.
he hits her, and she just spits it out, like nothing. And they both punch each other, and he just starts yelling at her. Admit it, I'm the assertive man that you need, and you're the hardcore something that I've always dreamed of. And then they kiss each other while Judith is still choking Wayne.
Right. It's like that raccoon scene all over again.
Yeah, exactly. JD carries a Coach. Turns out Coach is also gay, and they all get married at a Neil Diamond concert, and it plays them out to the credits, Oz.
There you go.
And that, my friend, is 2001's Saving Silverman, courtesy of Patreon subscriber Melissa L. So
that's right. If we're gonna wrap up Wives' Choice Month, there's no better way than with Saving Silverman.
So at this point in the show, folks, Oz and I each give our own unique rating to the film in question. In this case, the comedy classic Saving Silverman. Oz, how would you rate this movie?
I'm going to give this one 5.5 sequin shirts.
Okay, that works.
How about you?
I'm going to give it... I have a soft spot for this really dumb movie.
I do too. But having a soft spot for it doesn't mean I'm going to say it's a good one.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
I'm going to give it... let's go with 66 diamonds in the rough.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Next up, folks, we've got Outside Insights, where Oz and I have scoured the interwebs looking for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope that they tickle yours as well. Oz, what is your Outside Insight?
I have a 5-star review. Left
out of 5?
Out of 5.
Ooh.
5 out of 5. Left on January 14th of this year by Brandon. He says, "Oh yeah, you know the moment you recognize you're watching a masterpiece."
A masterpiece.
But he also doesn't. He doesn't allude to what that moment is. He doesn't say what
the moment is. Yeah. You know the moment. You'll know what it is. You'll know exactly what it is.
Oh yeah, 5 stars. So
thanks for your insight, Brandon.
Yeah, I may want to comment on his. Because you can comment and be like, what moment am I looking for? Just so I know.
It's the nachos.
Oh yeah. You know the moment.
You know it. And you can just see his head bobbing up. You know it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Girl, you know it.
Girl, you know it's true.
All right, what's your outside insight?
Well, as you and I talked about pre-show, I found several, and they're all very short, so I'm going to rattle off the first couple of them here. And I'll say I struggled to find one for game night last week, but they were just right there for the taking. They're all from the Internet Movie Database, and they're all 10 out of 10 reviews.
All right, this is a perfect movie to these people.
Yes.
This is Brandon's kind of crowd.
Yeah, so Saturnfly says, if it weren't so late with people sleeping in the next room, I surely would have peed my pants from laughing so hard. If there weren't people next in the next room over, I would have peed my pants. But they were there.
So, thankfully, they were there. I got up, went to the bathroom.
Otherwise, I would have peed my pants.
But because they were there, I paused it because I'm a real loud peer.
Especially if it's in my pants.
My pants are made of cake pans, by the way. It's real loud aluminum.
That's a loud stream. We hear of like weak stream, but
yeah,
loud stream.
Mine's real ropey. A real ropey stream.
The next one, another 10 out of 10 from Manos. Hey, the century just started. This was in 2001, so this is right after it came out. Hey, the century just started. I'll say it's the funniest movie of the century because so far it is. I haven't laughed so hard since 1995's The Nutty Professor. Manos knows funny.
He does. I see Manos after this film like licking his pen and writing in his journal. Funniest movie since 1995's Nutty Professor.
And he's furiously scribbling because he has to get his thoughts out. This movie was so funny, I gotta get these down right away.
Oh, I'll go to IMDb tomorrow morning, but right now I gotta get my thoughts out.
The next one comes from Jera Media. Also from 2001. Jack Black, what a man. Great pacing, great comic acting. This was a pleasure to watch. There are no fart jokes.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great movie, Jack Black. No fart jokes.
Yeah, we stepped over that low-hanging fruit and we elevated our comedy. This is elevated comedy.
Yep.
Oh my.
And my last one comes from G.S. Worth. This movie is hilarious. A great cameo from the second head of Tenacious D, Kyle Gass. Clutch.
It was clutch. Movie's gonna fall apart, but nope, he held it together.
Zahn is great. Jack Black has the performance gear on overdrive, and Jason Biggs is just Jason Biggs. The blonde chick is hot. The one from the whole 9 yards is annoying. Trust me, you want a great way to spend 90 minutes on the couch? Rip back and enjoy.
Clutch.
Clutch.
Man, that is written like somebody. It was written from 2001. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, that is all over 2001.
Yes. Oh
man. My.
The treasure trove of outside insights for Saving Silverman.
That was nice. Nice. Would you have?
I had four there. I had four.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. This Quattro pack, real clutch.
Clutch. I would have peed my pants if there wasn't somebody in the next room.
I haven't seen a movie this funny since '95's Nutty Professor.
No fart jokes. Oh, and folks, as tears are starting to stream down my face, that brings us to our signature segment, the one you've all been waiting for, the 3, 2, 1, at which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the film in question. In this case, 2001's Dennis Dugan classic, Saving Silverman. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
Oh, my first good is, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Steve Zahn and Jack Black saves this movie.
Oh, God,
they save Saving Silverman.
Yes.
And so they play, and they just play such good dummies. Convincing that, I mean, they relish in that role. Like Steve Zahn had a very similar role in That Thing You Do, where he's just kind of the real laid back, easygoing dummy, and it works. So that's my first good. Because again, I could tolerate some Jack Black, and this movie was like the right amounts per scene and the right type of Jack Black. I was okay with it. My second good is the fact that that just zany comedies like this can get made. And Dennis Dugan has made a career out of quote unquote dumb comedies. Mm-hmm. Like some of them have some heart, don't get me wrong. Like Happy Gilmore is a fun movie.
Sure.
And there's a fun message behind it. And some of those other ones in there aren't terrible. But just like this is just insane and just insanity. Like wall to wall insanity. You just see the 2 writers of the movie, you see them sitting together, writing the script, just coming up with just kind of one up at each other on what the next goofy scene is going to be. And then my third, is to go along with Steve Zahn and Jack Black, if this movie didn't have that slapstick physical action, it would have also been lacking. Because virtually everything that's funny in this movie is physical. Yeah. There are some little nuggets that are dropped that are comical, like the the nacho joke and the lug nut, but those are just Jack Black. Those are just Jack Black's pronunciation type stuff. Yeah. But really, the slapstick is what pushes it over the edge to not take this movie too seriously. Because let's not kid ourselves. I'll get to it in the bad as well. There are people that are in relationships like this.
Yes.
And watching a movie like this without that humor, it's not a comedy, it's a horror film, because that's that eye-opening moment where they're like, this is my relationship. So the slapstick physical action added to it and added some of the fun because of the people that are doing it. So those are my 3 goods. How about you?
My first good, I'm gonna I can go on a limb here. I'm just gonna say my first good is Patreon subscriber Melissa L suggesting this. This gave us a chance to revisit this incredibly dumb movie.
Oh yeah,
That in parts it will have some bads here in a moment. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
But is for the most part just a harmless, stupid film.
And it is. It's endearing. Like
yes.
you just.
Yeah, and you can't
fun watching.
Yeah, and again, all the the good characters, Wayne and JD and Darren, they're all reasonably good guys. Like they're dumb, but they're harmless. So
right.
My second good is I don't even remember where it is in the movie, but at one point Steve Zahn gets kicked in the groin. And it's the funniest reaction to being kicked in the groin I recall seeing in a movie. I think it's Judith that does it, and she just punts him in the groin, and his eyes just get wide, and instead of he just screams, ah! It's like he was in the car that got pushed off the cliff. It's like he screams like he's falling to his death, as opposed to someone.
His reaction is to impending doom.
Yeah. So it's not the my genitals, my you know what, but it's just he just screams and he just lets it out, and I don't know what it is. There's something about that 5 seconds in this movie that just it's just Steve Zahn being funny. And then my last good is, and I mentioned it before, but just the wedding aisle scene.
Yeah.
Sandy runs in and gets Darren, and then it looks like they're going to repeat it with Wayne and Judith, and then she just clocks him with a chair and she's running down the aisle. So that scene always tickles my funny bones. Yeah, those are my three goods. Oz, what are your two bads?
Judith's portrayal, she's just a terrible person.
Oh, yeah.
And I had terrible girlfriend down, but no, she's just a terrible person.
She is, yeah.
Because not only is she awful to Darren, but she's also awful to Wayne and JD. And I don't want to call her flawed, because I don't think that's fair. I just think that that's the way that she has been hardened with her personality, because clearly the relationship she has with Wayne is also not a healthy one. Where you're just aggressive and angry at each other all the time. So that's my first one. And Amanda Peet did a good job in the role of just playing this cold, whatever Wayne described her as. And so that's my first bad, is without Sandy Perkins there to save it, this is a terrible romance movie.
Yeah.
And my second, as much as I do like the camaraderie of the friends, Wayne, JD, and Darren, and I'm going to use a phrase from that era, the bros before hoes message is a little bit much of we're not even going to try to negotiate how this can be a compromise. We're just going to kidnap you and eliminate you from the equation. Because you said our friend can't be our friend anymore. So it's in that end, they aren't any better than she is in how they're handling Darren. And so that was, I put that in my bad category. I love the fact that they're good friends, because they are good people, but the way they handled that message of the bros before was a little extreme. But I mean, it was supposed to be extreme for the comedy, but you kidnapped a woman and lied to your best friend about it. So it's like reverse catfishing. So that's my two bads. What about you?
My two bads, we mentioned this one before as well, but and I'm glad Hollywood has stopped this, but using homosexuality as a punchline. He's gay. Oh, that explains it. Okay. It's again, Hollywood has moved away from it, but again, this is a relic of the era.
Yeah.
Yes. Dennis Dugan, do better.
Right.
And then the other one,
which I don't know if you could say he did, because it's later on he made "I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry," where the whole movie is we're straight men that need to pretend to be gay for health insurance. I don't know. I guess maybe in his mind he's if I just keep making movies that with homosexual through lines, but put them in front of people who are anti-gay. Maybe this is a way I can get the message across to them that it's okay.
This is how I can access the audience that needs to be more informed.
It's like maybe he's the hero we didn't know we need.
Thank you, Dennis Dugan.
Yeah, Hacksaw Dennis Dugan.
Bonesaw Dennis Dugan.
Yeah, right.
They were a tag team back in the day, the Saw Brothers.
Yeah. That's right.
Hack and Bone.
Hack and Bone.
My other bad is that there is always music playing in this movie.
Yeah.
And I intentionally mentioned several of the songs before because like there's never a moment where there's not either like a song or just like jangly guitar playing. Like it was like sensory overload. Like
that's how all these comedies were back then. The American Pie movies weren't any different.
Yeah. Like I get that late 90s, early aughts, like there's always like upbeat, like either pop or like pop punk music playing, and like
here's my theory. My theory is realistically how much of the music from that chunk of years has really held up. None. So my theory is all the bands there, you know, where their music is all over the place, because these songs were all over the place.
Yeah.
That it's like you almost get the vibe, and I don't know, I've never been in a band, but do you get the vibe that you know if you've got staying power or not? Do you think a band knows? Like, I mean, do you think they know, like, we know we've got a good songwriter. We know we are music, like the Beatles. I think the Beatles knew they were going to be around a while. The Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, you know, but it's like you look at Crazy Town. Do you think Crazy Town knew that, like, you know, we really struggled filling our debut album? And only one song got airplay.
I think they thought they had made it big, and they thought they'd have staying power.
But you know, but it's like I wonder if like internally some of them were like, yeah, this isn't gonna last long. You know, that because of that, like the music rights to their songs of that era were so dirt cheap that you could fill 90 minutes of music because the songs were garbage. And I think even then everybody knew they were garbage. We didn't, well, with the exception of Garbage. Garbage was actually good.
Garbage was great. Garbage was great. Yeah.
Coincidentally enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that theory has any weight, but it's a theory that because the music was so bad, the rights were had for cheap, so you could just pump music into these movies. And keep them going. Like, hey, somebody call up Big Bad Voodoo Daddy and see if the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones have anything available. Mm-hmm. Hey, do you think Cake will let us use that song? Filter.
Yeah, just too much music all the time.
There was a lot
always playing. All right, Oz, what's your one for Saving Silverman?
My one is, would I still enjoy this movie if it came out today instead of when I was 21?
Okay. That's a thinking man's
Right. And probably not. So it definitely does have, like you said, it's a relic of its time. Mm. It definitely has that, its fingers dug into that memory of my, you know, that time of my life, because movies like this do still come out today and I don't watch them. You know, even take this 2001, fast forward just a handful of years to your epic movie, disaster movie, Not Another Teen movie. And I had no interest in any of those. Your scary movie franchise of just, you know, just too meta. The superhero movie being another one. They were terrible. But for the people of that generation, it was gold. It was gold mine. And so that's my guess. That's my if this movie came out in 2023, would like it was previously unreleased. Like they made it in 2001, but they just didn't release it until 2023. Sure. Would I still find this movie enjoyable? I don't know. So what's your
Interesting. My I got several here to pick from. I'm gonna go with Darren ran 30 miles from the club to the convent.
Yep.
and they even said it out loud.
Oh, I know. I know. And I actually found that funny. That it's like,
you just ran 30 miles?
Yeah.
It's like, what else could they have put there? You just biked 100 miles?
Right, yeah. It's and folks, that's the magic of movie editing.
Yeah.
You just show them leave on foot and showing up at the convent on foot, and then you could put any amount of distance between it.
You just ate a 3-foot-long sandwich?
I did. Because you saw me take the last bite.
Yeah.
Well, like that I mean, I know you said it, but like that trainee at Subway did.
Yeah.
Earlier in the movie when he made a party sub and then it was eaten.
Yeah. But yeah, like it. I don't know. I just find it funny that they have to like say it out loud.
Yeah,
like
right.
You just ran 30 miles. Yeah.
Wow. You must really love me.
So that's Saving Silverman, folks, and that puts a wrap. Smooth transition there, and that puts a wrap on Wives' Choice Part 2.
Oh, I'm excited for next month.
Oh,
to be fair, I'm excited for every month, but I'm really excited for next month. We've had this theme in the works for several months.
Yes,
like it just we didn't put it into 2022, but to be fair, we probably came up with this idea early 2022, and we finally have gotten to it. But yeah, we are going to spend the next 5 weeks, because it's a 5-week month. We're going to spend I had to make sure I showed our viewing audience how many numbers I met.
We're going to spend the next 5. You haven't lost a digit along the way.
I know, right? We're going to spend the next 5 weeks discussing guilty pleasure movies of ours.
We got some fun ones lined up.
Movies that we know they're not the mainstream viewership's favorite films, but they have a soft spot in our heart. To be fair, Saving Silverman was probably the best transition into Guilty Pleasure Month, because it really is a guilty pleasure for both of us. But we are kicking off Guilty Pleasure Month with my pick, 80s sci-fi horror film, Chopping Mall.
I've never seen Chopping Mall.
Oh, you are in for a treat, my friend.
I read the synopsis not too long before we started recording today. It's like, oh, how have I missed this movie?
Oh, you are in for a treat. This movie, they might as well have called this movie 1980s, the movie. Like, it is, like, even the people, like, because you've got your stereotypical jock or whatever, but it's like, you look at him and you're like, I bet that man has not worked in a motion picture since 1980s. Like, it's impossible because he looks like the 80s.
Yes.
It's uncanny. And so you've got Barbara Crampton in this movie.
Oh, I like me some Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, you've got the kind of Barbara Crampton you probably like too. Ooh. Well, I think that goes hand in hand. If you've got Barbara Crampton in a movie. But yeah, you got Kelly Maroney. You've got Dick Miller in this movie.
Of course he's there because it's an 80s movie.
This movie is so good. So it's not good, but it's so fun, I should say. But I mean, I love Chopping Mall. I'm not going to talk. I could go on now without even watching it again, but love me some Chopping Mall. And so we're going to kick off Guilty Pleasure Month with Chopping Mall. Yeah. Just to be fair, we will give you a heads up. We do have, we've got 2 horror films. Mm-hmm. We got 2 comedies. We've got 1 comic book movie, really. My other pick, I think the safest thing to call it's a comic book movie, even though there is no comic book based on it, but it's a comic book film.
Yeah, basically is.
And we have a guest. We have a guest right in the middle of the month. So we got a lot of fun stuff in store for March 2023 Guilty Pleasure Month. It's gonna be a great month. I'm excited. All across the board.
I'm looking forward to this.
A great month. And so, yeah, you can catch us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We mentioned at the top of the show, there is a link to Patreon down below if you'd like to become a patron of the show and have access to some bonus episodes, which we need to desperately get back on the wagon and get some recording done. But other than that, make sure you do come back next month as we kick off Guilty Pleasure Month with the first. When honestly, it's for me when I think I was the one that came up with the theme for Guilty Pleasure Month. It's because where do I get Chopping Mall on there?
You just wanted to watch Chopping Mall, and so you built the theme around it. Yeah.
Well, no, I could watch Chopping Mall whenever I want. I wanted you to watch Chopping Mall and talk about it with me. That's really the basis for my movie choices. So Chopping Mall will be the movie of choice next month or next week as we kick off a new month, which is amazing because we're already in March. So for Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we'll see you guys next week.